The Cy Youngs today, of course, in Major League Baseball, Garrett Cole winning the American League. So that made us think, let's come up with a little list of the best pitching seasons. Now, I'm going to do it in my lifetime, so I'm not going to go back to, Walter Johnson and Christy Matheson or Lefty Grove. So I'll go, essentially from 1960 onward. And I'll give you the five that, at least in my lifetime, I had put in the mix. And I'm going to go in chronological order. And I'm going to start with Koufax's first great year. That was in '63 with L.A. He won 25 games. Remember, the year before, he was 14-7, but he had a circular problem in his finger, so he didn't pitch in the last 2 months. The Dodgers lost to the Giants in a playoff scenario. The next year, he came back ablazing. Koufax won 25 games. He had a 1.8-something ERA. I think it was 1.83. 300 and some odd strikeouts in 311 innings. He had 11 shutouts on the year. He had 20 complete games. Then, of course, he had this opening game against the Yankees in the World Series, when at the time he broke the strikeout record that Carl Erskine had with 15 Ks of the Yankees. And the great quote afterwards, of course, 5-2 Dodgers in Game 1. And the great quote by Yogi Berra afterwards says, I can see why he won 25 games. How did he lose 5? And that's the sort of year that Koufax had, the first of the five great years, 63, 64, 65, 66. Koufax superb. And that's number one on our chronological list. Number two is going to be Bob Gibson. We discussed this the other day when he won the MVP and he won the Cy Young in the same year. This is 68 when Gibson won the 22 ball games. He lost 9 with that unbelievable ERA, 1.12. They lowered the mound, obviously, to get more offense after this year in 68 when he won 22 with that unbelievable ERA. And McLean, who you're going to hear from next, won the 31. Gibson was absolutely superb. 34 starts on the year. The Cardinals only scored 12 runs in his 9 losses, so he could have won a heck of a lot more than the 22. He had the 17 strikeouts of Detroit in Game 1 of the World Series, which obviously broke Koufax's record from a few years earlier than that. He did lose Game 7 of Lolich. We all know about that game. We've talked about it a lot. 28 complete games, 13 shutouts. That's Gibson in 68. McLean, of course, now if I had to rank him, I put this number 5 because of a relatively high ERA, just a little under 2, but he won 31 ball games. He was 31-6 for the 68 Tigers. Was not great in the World Series, but boy, he was certainly phenomenal in the regular year. He threw 336 innings. He had 280 strikeouts. And there is McLean. That's against the Cardinals. He's either Game 1 or Game 6. I'm not sure which one that is. But McLean, wearing number 17, had an incredible year. Remember, he won back-to-back Cy Youngs because they won the next year, too. He tied with Cuellar of the Orioles. But that's McLean with the 31 wins. Obviously, nobody had 130 since Dizzy Dean did in the mid-30s with the Gas House Gang in St. Louis. So I'm going to put McLean up there as number 3. Number 4 is an easy one. This is my lifetime now, and I remember 68. But the 78 thing with Guidry when he went 25-3 with the Yankees was one of the great years I've ever seen as far as a pitcher is concerned. He had an incredible season. He had a 1.74 ERA. He had, an 893 winning percentage. He had he started the year 13-0. He had 248 strikeouts. He had 9 shutouts, 16 complete games. The standing up when they had 2 strikes and a batter started with Guidry. Matter of fact, in this game against the Angels, Guidry was an incredible pitcher for the Yankees this year. One of the great years you've ever seen. He pitched the playoff game against the Red Sox. I should say the playing game. He wasn't great in the game. He got outpitched by Torres. But Guidry kept the Yankees in a pennant race. Remember, they trailed by 14 games. But every 4th or 5th day when you threw Guidry out there, you know he'd win. It's one of the great years in Yankee history, not saying a lot, 25-3 for the Gator. And then, of course, number 5 would be Doc Gooden, who did it 7 years later or 6 years later in 85 for the Mets. Remember, he came up in the 83, 84. He was very good. He won 16 ball games. In 85, he was 24-4 with a 1.53 ERA, 16 complete games, 8 shutouts. Remember, the 85 Mets, this is not the 86 Mets. This is the year before, and this is Doc's best year. He was superb. They won 98 games. They finished second to St. Louis, who obviously should have won the World Series that year, lost to Kansas City. But Doc had an incredible year. He won 24 ball games. He was young, the youngest ever pitcher to be this good. He was 20 years of age, won the Cy Young. He was right up there with the MVP balloting. Willie McGee won it. No, Willie McGee won in 82. I'd have to look who won in 85, but he had an incredible year in this particular year in 85 with the 24 wins, so I'm going to put him in the mix too. Lee, who won the MVP in 85 in the National League? Yeah, it was Willie McGee. All right, so he won in 85, not 82. But Gooden this year had an incredible season with the 24 wins. So Guidry, Gooden, McLean, Gibson, Koufax. I'm sure there's a couple others you could debate. In my lifetime, since 1959, those are the 5 best individual seasons as far as Hall of Fame worthy is concerned. I mean, remember, only 2 of them are Hall of Famers. McLean didn't make it. Gooden would have made it, but obviously we know what happened there. Guidry was a very good pitcher, a little shy of being a Hall of Famer.